Hi, welcome to Real Estate Today. My name is Ed Cox, and my co-host is Maria Babicki. We're both real estate agents here in Simsbury, and we'd like to welcome you to the show. We have a very exciting show today, and I'd like to ask Maria if you could introduce our guest and the topic for our show today.
Sure. Our guest today is Rick Woods, the functional organizer. Rick, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Maria.
You are also president of the National Organization of Professional Organizers.
Correct.
So we're very pleased to have you here. And could you begin by telling us about yourself
Sure,
and how you got into the business?
definitely. I've been in retail for about 12 years before I started this company, and that was about almost 4 years ago now that I've been a professional organizer. And before that, as a buyer for a major retail company up in Massachusetts, I felt I wasn't really living my best life. I have a couple kids, and at the time they were about 8 and 10, and I felt I wasn't home enough. I was doing a lot of traveling, and I wanted to make a career change. I wanted to do something that was good for me, something I would really enjoy, and something that can really impact the community, where I can help others and really change their life. As a kid, I was always into organization. I would change my room around. I would organize my baseball cards. I was really particular about a lot of things. And organizing just came natural to me. So it's something I would do in my home in my spare time when I was working a 9-to-5 job. My plan was to leave that job, and I talked to my wife, and we sat down, made a plan. She went back to work full time, got the benefits, and that freed me up some opportunity to discover what I really wanted to do. So I became a stay-at-home dad for a few months, and during that process, I gutted out the closets, cleaned out the basement. I would drop the kids off at school, and before I knew it, it was time to pick them up. I didn't have breakfast, I didn't have lunch. The day just flowed by. And I thought, is there a way I can do this for a career? I really love doing it. And then I discovered this association called the National Association of Professional Organizers. And I made a phone call to them, went to one of their meetings, and the rest is history.
Wow, that's great.
It was very fascinating. That's a pretty neat way to get into a career. I guess my first question to you would be, what are the benefits of having an organized home?
Oh gosh, you can find what you're looking for. That's number one. A lot of us have that. Do you ever have a problem where you can't find something in your home?
Oh, absolutely. Several times a week.
Yeah, see, so
Yeah.
think about the amount of time you can save just finding what you're looking for quickly. You have a meeting at work at 9 o'clock. Here it is, 8 o'clock. You're a half hour from work. You need to give yourself that lead time, and you're running around the house trying to get things together. You take your shower, you brush your teeth, and then all of a sudden you need the keys to the car. And where did I put them last? Did I put them in the purse? Did I put them on the counter? You go to the counter, it's full of paper. You got the kids' homework there, you're shuffling things around. 10 minutes goes by, 20 minutes go by. Your kids ask a question, you answer that. Before you know it, you still can't find your keys. 15 minutes you have left to get to work, you need that half hour. You're already late for your meeting, right? So if you just had a hook to put the keys on, and you use that hook every single day for your keys and got in the habit of doing that, then you wouldn't have been late for your meeting. Just a simple example of how if you're organized, it can save you time and energy.
Okay, so you don't think that you have to be like a natural organizer, that with the right tips?
Yeah, you don't have to be a natural organizer. As professional organizers, we train you how to organize. We coach you through the process, and we want you to learn how to organize. The whole definition of a professional organizer is to transfer skills to you.
See, there's hope for us.
Well, I use the key as an example. We have 4 drivers in our house, 3 cars, 6 sets of keys, and I have my place where I think we should leave the keys. And then we have my son's thought in the next room on another counter. So whenever I now look for car keys, I have to look in 2 spots, where before the drivers, and I've kind of asked that we get the keys into at least one counter. I've finally gotten to the point now where I leave the keys in the car so that I know where they are. So yeah, that's just one of a million different unorganized spots in my house, but we'll get to that later.
Is it exceptionally hard with multi-family members to get everyone on track so everyone's organized?
Well, this is the problem with a lot of multi-family homes.
Yeah.
More than one kid.
Yeah.
The problem is they don't all get on board.
Right.
If you have a family meeting for 10 minutes, probably once a month, just to kind of go over your new goals and your new roles and what you want to do in your home and your activities, things can run a lot more smoothly.
Okay.
Like if you just had a 5-minute meeting about the car keys, where they should go, and everybody agreed on the best place, not maybe your place or not her place or his place, but the place you all thought would be the best place. Everybody has a say on where it goes. Then they're more likely to use that spot. And the reason why some things don't become unorganized and they don't stay organized is because people don't continue to use the system. The system falls apart. When the system fails, you need to change the system. And people don't always change the system. So they just stay in that rut and they can't find the things they're looking for.
I think the first thing for me is going to be is to see if we can have a family meeting by watching the show so that it isn't my advice, it's your advice. They might listen a
Sometimes
little
having
better.
that outside influence really helps. I mean, a lot of families, they have the problem of organizing, and it's a husband or wife, they're not agreeing, and sometimes they try to help or get a brother or a sister to help out, and there's just still fireworks there, right? They need that outside influence to come in and smooth the waters a little bit.
But why are so many people struggling with clutter now? Because back in the day, it seemed like it wasn't such a hot topic, and now it is. Everybody has, not everybody, but some people have.
I mean, just think about how easy it is to buy something now. Mm-hmm. You can buy something 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Internet, right? You got the home shopping shows, different, like 4 or 5 different shopping shows on cable networks, right? And you have so many ways to buy things. Sundays, you can buy things on Sundays up until 6 o'clock now. You couldn't even buy things on Sundays years ago. And as a result, the homes went from here to here. The homes are so much bigger, and we feel we need to fill those homes up. It's great to have a big home and not fill it up, right? Let's have that space in there to enjoy a room with not a lot of possessions in it, right? That's really the room we need to go towards. People feel they need to fill their space with things.
Well, when we discussed this before the show, that was actually something Ed had come up with, that people probably want to buy bigger homes just because there's so much stuff.
It isn't because their family grew, it's because their stuff grew.
And when they run out of space in their homes, they buy that exterior storage unit, right? The self-storage unit down the road that's costing them $100 a month. And that's for the small one. If they want the big one, it's $150 a month. So after 10 years, you're spending over 10 grand on a storage unit for things you may not even grab anymore, right? You're just putting them away because you don't want to make decisions.
Question is, walk us through the process of how you would help us organize a home.
Sure. Well, the first thing is, what is organizing, right? Organizing is 2 words: delayed decisions. Think about everything you have in your home that's not organized. You haven't taken the time to decide where it's supposed to go. You've delayed the process of taking that next step. Because frankly, we don't have time, right? We have things to do, we're all busy. It's so stressful in our life, we don't want to even think about making a decision on where we have to put something. Because wherever it goes, it has to go there for life. And if we just put it anywhere and just kind of float around the house, it's much easier than having a focused spot for it. So really the first step is getting past that delayed decisions definition and making a decision on something. And starting with a small area, just focus on one area, maybe a junk drawer in your kitchen. Just focus on that one junk drawer. Empty everything out of that junk drawer. Everything. Pull it all out. I guarantee you that 80% of that junk drawer you're not even going to use again, right?
Maybe 15 years from now, I'll need that
You
screw.
may need it.
I'll need that
But
screw.
where does that screw go to? Here's the tip I tell everybody. If it's under $5, let it go. Don't even think about making it, because it's not worth it, right? For $5, forget about it. Because you're going to free up a lot of stress in your mind just by getting rid of that item. And if you need it someday, it's very easy to acquire another screw. If it was an antique from the 1700s, that's a whole nother conversation.
Right. Okay.
But how often do you come across people who it's just agonizing to make that determination, whether it's an antique or whether they'll actually use it? How do you deal with that?
Well, it's the emotional attachment
Yeah.
you'll have to things, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you went shopping with your mom a few years ago for this shirt that you've had and you love it, and then maybe your mom's passed away, right? So now you have that feeling, oh wow, I share that special moment with my mom, went to buy this shirt. It's not the shirt, it's the emotional attachment to that moment when you bought the shirt. It has nothing to do with the shirt. Maybe the shirt doesn't even fit you anymore, right?
Right.
So what's the point of keeping it, really? The point of keeping it is because it makes you feel good, because you remember that moment when you see that shirt.
Yeah.
So what we do as professional organizers, we try to get rid of that emotional attachment layer that's on everything that we own. And most things we own have a little bit of emotional attachment to it. The easiest things to get rid of are things that don't have any emotional attachment to it. And the trick is to try to get rid of that emotional attachment which is holding you back.
All right. So you talk people through that.
That's the whole coaching process is what we do.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, well, back to the junk drawer. Okay, so you now have talked to me about one drawer in my kitchen that that I go through, and I've opened up, I've emptied completely out, and I go, all of this stuff can go. But then I cross over and I go, well, I think I'll save this, and then I'll get a container to put all these in, but then still put it back in the drawer. So, okay, so now my junk drawer is organized. What would be your next step after the junk drawer?
Okay, so it is organized now. You got
It
everything
is,
back.
it
So
is.
how did you organize it again? You said,
No, I have to go back and do it all
put
over
everything
again.
back in there again. So let's just go through the whole process of how you would organize. Because how you organize a junk drawer is how you organize your whole
Okay.
basement, right? It's the same thing. The same principles apply. You're basically trying to create space in that drawer because when you're closing it, it doesn't always close, right? It closes halfway or things fall out. They get just jamming in there, shoving it, jamming. We're always jamming and shoving things in there. And when we pull it out, we wonder why the drawer doesn't open anymore, right? So the trick is to have less things in there, right? That would be the solution. So the way to get rid of have less things is to get rid of some things. So you want to sort all the like items first that are in there. Find all the pens, put them together. All the pencils, put them together. Do I need 85 pencils? And 75 aren't even sharpened, right? Probably don't need all those. You could probably take those other pencils and store them somewhere else in a little supply section, somewhere else in your home that's not in the junk drawer. And when you need some, you can retrieve those and put them in as you need them.
That's the backup junk drawer.
A backup junk drawer. That would be a little storage area. But yeah, the trick is to have less things in that junk drawer. So you're going to sort through it. You're going to purge the things you don't need. You're going to assign a home in that junk drawer. Pens are going to go to the left. Pencils will be right next to it. Maybe you'll have a pad to the right. You're going to have a spot in there for everything, right? And if you can find a way to zone those off, with some type of organizer, some type of things you can stick in there so they can kind of stay in there and not slide all over the place, that's going to help as well. And then that would be a container that you would use, some type of container. And then the other trick, the thing people never do, is to maintain that space. So once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, just take 5 minutes, just open the junk drawer, just kind of move things around back where they're supposed to go. It may seem like a little step, but if you do that once every 2 weeks,
Yep.
after a year, if you don't do it at all, things are all over the place again.
So you would recommend that I empty out the container that I have of keys that I don't know what they do?
Exactly. Because if you knew what each key did, then you know whether you need it or not. Here's a master lock key from a 1962 lock that I don't even have anymore.
Well, I don't know if I have it or not.
There you go. So maybe you can just get rid of both of those things, get a new master lock, go to Home Depot, spend the $5 and you're done, right?
Okay.
If you really needed a master lock, you may not even need it anymore.
You just mentioned putting separators in drawers.
Yes.
So like there's Shelf Genie, things like that. But do you use those products when you're organizing?
It's funny you mentioned someone like Shelf Genie. We actually have them as an associate member at our NAPO group.
Oh, okay.
There's vendors like that actually work with us, and we work with them
Uh-huh.
because they're the top organizing products in the industry.
Okay. All right. Are there any products you recommend? Like at one point I heard about going to your local grocery store and getting banana boxes and using that to separate
Banana
things.
boxes are really good for heavy, strong items that you want to store, maybe in your basement or your garage, and just slap a label on it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the
Right.
label.
The trick is the label because you're going to see all these banana boxes, you're not going to know what it is, right?
Right.
So really, I've got a few things here. You'd want to just, grab a Sharpie, right? You just grab a label. You can get a small one like this, depending on what size you're working with, or when it's a little bit bigger like that.
Okay.
And just write down whatever the item is that's on there.
Okay.
Keep it as broad as possible. Don't be specific.
Yeah.
If it's a certain piece of china, and then you have a couple other dishes and some kitchen items, just write maybe kitchen items on it, just so you know what it is. And maybe a small note, you can write Nana's China, 1920 or something like that. So you just know there's a keepsake item in there.
Okay. Now, when you get to the point where people have established they don't need certain things, do you help them find a home for it, like through free cycle or going to like an estate dealer? I mean, what do you do at that point when they just don't want to junk it because it still might have value to someone else?
Exactly. Well, the first thing is there anybody you know that might want it, right? Sister, brother, mother, father, anybody in the family that's related to you or a friend that can use it. Right?
Yeah.
Give it to them first. Then the next step is there value that you want to get some money in return for? Consignment shops are really great for that. There's some hard good consignment shops. There's a lot of soft goods consignment shops out there. And a lot of them are in the local area. You can find what you're looking for, and you can usually get some money back for it. And the last choice, if you don't feel you really need money for it, would be donate it.
Okay.
And there's so many different organizations, local and national, that you can go to. Really, it's whatever suits you most, right? Based on your values,
Okay.
we would find the best place for it. And you
Okay.
might even have a suggestion, and we'll actually take it there for you.
All right.
After, we were just talking about coming in and organizing, what would you say your success rate is when you go in and organize a family? How does that work? Do you get to follow up with them?
Oh yeah, we go through the whole process of the purging, sorting, purging, and then the organizing process after that. And then we go through the follow-up process when we're all done with them. We'll call them a month later, see how everything's going, make sure they're maintaining their space, and that's when we have a conversation. Is the system working? Should we change it? How's it going? And usually success rate for the systems that we put in place is about 75%. So it's actually pretty high for the successful system. If it doesn't succeed, then we go back in there and we try another system. And usually the second time it works because they figured out what doesn't work, right? Because some people are so far unorganized, they don't really know what's going to work for them. But we try to come up with the best system that's going to work for them based on how their home is looking. So if I see a lot of clutter by the entryway that's a lot of book bags and there's nothing around, we may say, let's put some hooks right here by the door because that's where the book bags are always going, right? That's where the kids are throwing them. If we put hooks there, they're going to put them there because that's where they're used to putting them, right? Where some people may say, well, there's better space over here, so let's put the book bags over here, but the kids aren't going to use that, right? It may look prettier and nicer and Martha Stewart-ish, but they're not going to use it. And the whole point of being organized the right way is so you're going to use the systems that we put in place for you.
Okay. I have a question. As far as hiring a professional organizer, I think some people may be hesitant because they're not quite sure how much of an expense this will be or what kind of commitment it will be. Can you give us any insight into that?
Well, let me ask you a question. If you had a leak in your roof, would you get your roof replaced?
Absolutely.
We've had that, like the last 5 years, with all these snowstorms we've been having up here in the Northeast, we've had a lot of problems with our roofs, right? Mm-hmm. You're willing to make that investment because that's the stress you're feeling. I don't want to hear the drip, drip, 3 o'clock in the morning, you start panicking, things are leaking, things are getting ruined that you own in the house. Same way with a professional organizer. If you have this clutter that's causing you the stress, you want to clear it up, you want to have some solutions in place, we're here to help you out with the strategies and actually help you physically get organized in your home. It's all about relieving that stress that you're feeling.
So is there, like, for example, just following up with that, is there like a first consult that you would commit?
Yeah, exactly. So if someone says, Rick, I just saw your website and it looks interesting. I feel I need help in my basement. I have a lot of things. What do you suggest I do? I'm like, you know what, Tom, I can come out to your house in a couple weeks. Let's make an appointment. I'll look at the space. We'll figure out what needs to be done. We can start working that day, or we can make an appointment to come back another day and start working. Okay. So yeah, we would start with a consult first. And most of the times, I'll talk to them on the phone first for about 10 minutes to kind of get an idea of what their space is like, what their problems are, before I even go to the space. And now, with the new technology, I might even Skype them for the whole consultation first, right? So we can Skype the whole house. They can show me what's going on in the home, where I'm still there, and I can really get an idea, wow, you know what? This is what we need to do when I come to your house. Like, I'll already know, boom, right off the bat, what needs to happen. By seeing the space.
Has anyone ever hired you to help them when they move into a brand new, or when they buy a new home? To get it started?
Unpacking and organizing is big. Think about when you move into a home, right? You just want to get the stuff in the spot wherever it's supposed to go, store that stuff, and get to the beach, right? You don't want to be unpacking the boxes. That's another stressful thing. And you just put it the first place you see it. You just throw anything anywhere. Whereas if you put the glasses in the right spot in the kitchen and the dishes and all that stuff in the right triangle around your dishwasher, then it would be easy to unload your dishwasher every time, right? Instead of just throwing it anywhere. Oh, well, this is a big thing. It'll fit in this spot over here. So what a lot of us do is we'll say, okay, this is a big item. Let's stick it in this spot because it's big, right? It doesn't matter if it's the best solution for something else. We just put things however big they are and just try to fit them in the space like a big Tetris
Yes.
thing in our house, right? So
Mhm.
that's
like a
one of the
puzzle.
downfalls of when you're unpacking. You just kind of throw things wherever. And even when you're not unpacking in your house as it is, this is the big area, let's put this here because it's big.
Now, as far as NAPO, it seems like organizers have specialties just like anyone else.
Correct.
Okay, so what are some of the specialties?
Basements and garages are a big one. That's one of my specialties. Hoarding's another one. There's some organizers just do hoarding. I've done a couple of hoarders. That's not my specialty. I'll do it, but it's gonna take a long time, and I don't want to take that amount of time with a client. I want results quick with clients. I want to make space fast, and with a hoarder, I really can't do that because it takes them a long time to go through the decision process, right? But working with a couple of hoarders has really helped me through the coaching process of just the everyday person who's having clutter problems. Because some of the questions I ask them, I ask the everyday person, and they really relate. Wow, I never really thought of it like that.
Worst case, like a hoarder, how long would it take to go through the process with them for them to have a more organized life?
That could take. You're looking at easily 3 days a week, probably 4 to 6 hours a day, and that would probably last about 6 months.
Okay, so it's a commitment.
It's a commitment, and they really have to be committed to change. Like I won't work with anyone unless they're say, you know what, I want to make some changes in my life. I'm not happy with what's going on in my house. I really want it to change. If they're willing to change, then I can help them get rid of that emotional attachment to their stuff, so their house can look amazing.
Okay.
But they have to be willing to change. That's the first step. If they're
Right.
not willing to change, then it's really hard for me to work with them.
Okay.
In real estate, we sometimes use professional stagers to come in and stage the home. I can see there are times when certain houses we see that we're thinking about putting on the market, and staging might not be quite, it'd be organizing more than it would be anything. Have you done any homes where people are preparing to put their house on the market?
Yeah, really the biggest point I say, make sure that kitchen looks awesome when you get into it, because that's the biggest spot. And really, when you open the cabinets, make sure they look nice, because if you can open the cabinets for people and show them what the space looks like inside the cabinets, it's going to really help sell the home.
Okay. I can see that definitely in certain homes that I've been in. As much as you'd like to hire a stager, the stager wouldn't know what to do because
And if you
there's so much
hired
stuff.
a great interior decorator, which I know a couple that are really awesome, if you hired somebody like that, they have great staging qualities where they can come in and do some nice window treatments and make things nice, spruce it up a little bit, and those are pretty cost effective as well.
Okay.
Can you tell us about the industry? Like, what kind of certification do you need? Like, what do you have to do to become a professional organizer?
Well, there's classes you need to take for NAPO just to even become a professional organizer. There's 3 or 4 classes you need to take right away. And once you do those classes and you do a certain amount of hours with some clients, then you become a professional organizer.
Okay.
Okay. Can you tell us a really classic success story where when one home that you helped organize and they come back to you and tell you that their life has changed? Do you have some?
Probably somebody who was dealing with a lot of paper and they were struggling so much, and we put together this Tickler file, which really helped them get control of their clutter.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about it.
Their mail,
Paper.
just the mail coming in and the paper from work and paper from the kids' schools, all that together using a Tickler file system really helped them. Do you know what a Tickler file is?
I don't. That would be my next question.
If you Google Tickler file, you can find out, but I'll just give you a quick little rendition of what it is. It's 31 files, 1 through 31. You would number 1 through 31 for the days of the week. And you'd have 12 files for each day of the month, each month, right? So you'd have 12 for the months, 31 for the days, and those are your only folders inside a box, right? And the box is open, and you just rotate them each day, right? And when you have something that you need to do on a certain day, say there's an event you want to do in August 15th. So you just stick something, whatever it is, in the August folder. Then when you get to the August folder, you would put it in the proper day. Like say it was August 15th. You stick it in number 15 behind the August folder when you get to August. Because when you get to August, you're going to look at all your August stuff that you need to do. And you're going to file it in the numbers. So when you get to that day, you can keep rotating. It's a continual rotation. And it lasts you for a lifetime. Because there's no hard dates. It's just numbers and months.
Got it. Yeah, that would That
But
would
if you
be-
Google it, they can give you another explanation. There's so many different explanations on it, and you can actually watch a video on it. It's a great way to get organized, especially with your paper.
Okay.
As we're getting to the end of the show, people are tuning in and they just want, a basic summary of what they should do. Like if they're on the fence about getting a professional organizer, if they kind of, need some help but they're not sure, what advice would you give to them?
About whether they want to hire one or not?
Yeah, like what would make them, make the final decision? Yes, I should call right now and hire Rick Woods.
How stressful are you right now? Are you feeling anxiety? Are you tired of looking at stuff on the ground that's just been there, and you pick it up and the next day it's there again? And do you need to feel better? How good do you really want to feel? So if you want to feel better, make the call. Like if you were sick, you would call a doctor. Same thing, right? So if you're sick, you call a doctor. If you're unorganized, you call a professional organizer. And we try to really stress this organizing process now because a lot of people don't know about professional organizers. It's fairly new in the community, like you were saying before. They've been around since the 80s, but they're just starting to kind of creeping up. People are understanding what they are. And it's okay to have a doctor, right? But sometimes it's embarrassing to have an organizer, and it really isn't. We're trying to make it's okay. Who is your professional organizer? Who is your PO? That's kind of the thing we're throwing out there now.
Oh.
We did a little thing in NAPO last year on who is your PO. So it's like, who's your professional organizer? So it's okay to have a professional organizer. It's almost becoming a cool thing to have a professional organizer.
So how often do they touch base with you? Like once you have an established client?
Oh, I get calls all the time.
Yeah.
Like after I work with them, they're always like, Rick, can you come back for a refresh? Or can you help me with this? Or oh, my mom wants help. Or
Yeah.
my sister needs help. So I'm always getting referrals from the people I'm working with as well.
Well, I feel better now. I think we need to call him. So thank you for joining us. I think, you gave us a lot of good information, and I think we have a place to start now.
Great.
So
Yeah.
thank you very much. Thank you for tuning into Real Estate Today.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.